At exactly 1:15 a.m. on February 2026, the United States and Israel launched a massive military offensive. In the first 12 hours, Operation Epic Fury struck over 900 targets across the Middle East. The fallout was immediate. Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was dead, and the world's most critical energy transit point, the Strait of Hormuz, was effectively closed. From the outside, this looked like a return to traditional, heavy-handed geopolitics, an escalation driven by the sheer weight of American and Israeli military power. But the strikes were actually the first field test for a different kind of command structure. While the missiles were physical, the decisions to fire them were being managed by autonomous machine algorithms. This single operation demonstrated that the time required to plan and execute a high-value strike is no longer limited by human deliberation, but by the speed of machine computation. For decades, the standard doctrine of warfare relied on physical mass. Success meant moving divisions of tanks, fleets of aircraft, and thousands of troops, all while human commanders spent days analyzing intelligence reports. But that model hits a wall when faced with the modern data environment. As satellites, sensors, and intercepted signals generate petabytes of information every hour, the human brain becomes a bottleneck. It simply cannot process the data fast enough to act on it. In January 2026, the U.S. Department of War responded with the Artificial Intelligence Acceleration Strategy. The directive aimed to transform the military into an AI-first structure, specifically designed to bypass that human delay. On a modern battlefield, windows of opportunity to hit a moving target last just 3 minutes. To catch those windows, the military concluded it had to remove human deliberation from the decision cycle entirely. We saw the early stages of this shift in January 2026. Operation Absolute Resolve targeted the leadership of the Maduro regime in Caracas, Venezuela. Planners used Palantir's tracking systems and Anthropic's models to ingest thousands of hours of audio intercepts. The AI didn't just summarize documents, it simulated dynamic raid scenarios based on the target's daily habits. Even with that digital edge, the operation was logistically massive. It required disabling the city's power grid and deploying 150 aircraft to support the elite teams on the ground. The mission was successful. President Maduro was captured and extracted from his compound. But in Caracas, the AI was still an advisor. The operation still relied on the loud, dense military footprint of the previous century to get the job done. 1 month later, in Tehran, the strategy evolved. Targeting Khamenei was considered nearly impossible due to his randomized locations, armored security rings, and heavy electronic jamming. Instead of human-led planning, Central Command utilized a closed-loop AI architecture. This system was given direct authority to manage the targeting chain without waiting for a human analyst to verify the data. The results were measured in seconds. In 11 minutes and 23 seconds, the system fused multi-layered datasets to identify a momentary gap in the Supreme Leader's hierarchy, a window too brief for a human team to even recognize. The AI then directed a blue Sparrow missile from the edge of space. The human commander's role was reduced to a single final authorization, a rubber stamp on a machine-made decision. This illustrates a clear trend. As algorithmic certainty about a target increases, the physical force required decreases. In Tehran, certainty reached a point where a single missile replaced the need for the 150 aircraft fleet used in Caracas. But a surgical strike doesn't lead to a surgical aftermath. In retaliation, Iran's blockade of the Strait of Hormuz instantly removed nearly 20% of the world's liquefied natural gas from the market. This high-tech assassination in Iran translated almost immediately into a domestic economic shock, driving U.S. gas prices above $4.50 a gallon. To prevent a total supply chain collapse, U.S. Transportation Command had to deploy its own AI logistics tools just to reroute tankers and find alternative ports in real time. The military footprint of the strike was microscopic, but the geopolitical and economic blast radius it created was larger than any conflict in recent memory. These operations suggest that traditional defenses, geographic borders, armored bunkers, and operational secrecy, face a new type of threat. They are no longer reliable barriers against an adversary that can synthesize petabytes of behavior data to find a gap. When a machine can process 2.3 petabytes of data to exploit a 3-minute security window, The very concept of hiding a high-value target begins to disappear. While traditional assets like aircraft carriers remain essential for projecting presence, their effectiveness now depends on the digital architecture behind them. Influence is shifting toward whoever commands the most advanced neural networks. By transferring the cognitive burden of life and death decisions to machine algorithms, we have gained unprecedented speed, but we have also accelerated the pace of war.